Okay, um, love this. I did almost all of chapter 7, and I happened to glance down at my microphone because the mic in my computer doesn't work, and it was turned off, and so I did the whole thing, and you can't hear it. So I'm going to try chapter 7 again. I said I'm still in my dining room. I just switched around the corner. I have a slash dining room music studio, so lots of music stuff behind me. But I was afraid the cuckoo clock with the pendulum swinging in the background in my other location maybe was distracting. So we'll try again. This is on coaching teacher teams and study groups. And let me just start by saying that this is not, when it's talking about teacher teams and study groups, this is not like your regular PLC, your grade level. This could be your grade level, but this is like, as a literacy coach, you're bringing them in and you're working with them on growing their literacy knowledge, their literacy best practice. And so sometimes it views your role a little bit differently. When we have our PLCs, our coaches just come in and they're a part of it. They don't facilitate, they don't lead it. Sometimes they share information when we've asked for it. But so this is looking at this just a little bit differently. I want to clarify that. And this is kind of a question answer format. And I'm not going to read every answer to you, but just kind of give you a little summary. So the first question is, what should the role of the literacy coach be during team meetings? And in this role, this is where the coach really is in charge of the meeting. You bring them in, you facilitate it, you maybe take notes, you find materials, you send it out. The one thing it does caution you is to make sure that you build an agenda together. So you may have a team that says, okay, we're really struggling with improving fluency. We've done our FAST testing and we have kids who are not very fluent. We don't know what else to do. And so they have given you the topic and you have built the agenda, but it really, it is you facilitating their learning. That second question talks about some members dominate the conversation while others barely speak, and what can you do about the participation? And what I will say, again, you can read the answers the book gives, but I will say that I always met with those people individually. So sometimes when I had someone just who never would speak up and never would say anything, and I would talk to them and say, you know, why? And a lot of times the most common things that I heard were either they were just slower processors, and so they really needed time to kind of think through before they responded. By the time they were ready, we'd kind of gone on. Or there were certain people that just were so dominating that they said, I wasn't going to battle it, and so they didn't battle it. On the other hand, with those people that talk too much, and I think, you know what, I think I'm going on. Okay, this was about talking about their level of participation. Sorry about that. And if you go to the next question. Okay, so I am jumping way ahead of myself. So basically, sorry about that. It just talks about how they feel about their participation. What I was going to say was the ones who talk too much, I make sure that I kind of coach them maybe on the best way to do it. And I really apologize. That was quite a bumble, but I don't want to start this over again. So I'm just going to go on. Our third question about disagreements. And it just says when you're working with a group of teachers, especially if it's anything they're passionate about, you are going to have disagreements. And you just have to know that. And, you know, disagreements mean that they're actually thinking about what they're doing, they're paying attention to it, it's making sense. And so just know how you're going to handle disagreements, you know, what you want to do. A lot of times I would say, let's think about this for a week and come back next week, you know, because I just thought sometimes tempers needed to settle down. Sometimes people needed processing time. So know that it's going to happen, and you just need to not let it destroy a team, but work through it. What if it's about competing claims about teaching practices? And again, you can read through what it says there, but as long as what you're talking about is consistent with best practice, it's consistent with what you believe, it's consistent with those things, then you have to find ways to make it work. Sometimes people will bring forth something that really does not fit in with your framework of best practice. And that's where through evidence of research and modeling and stuff, you can guide them a different direction. What can I do about a group member whose presence is very intimidating to the others? And this was partly the question I was thinking about when I was answering before. I just am really careful about that, because there are those people that just think they have all the answers. They're very intimidating. They speak up, and just being, sorry, 5 o'clock. just being very careful that you work with them. And if it gets where it's not controllable by you, or it's very diminishing the work that you're doing, you may have to include your principal. You may have to go and say, this is the situation, this is what I've done, and maybe it's something that they need to deal with. Okay, then going on, a good structure or format for team meetings. And it really, there's some bolded words: listen, focus, take action, problem solve, and record. And it just really just is that. And we talked a lot about that even with the individual conferences, and those can definitely carry over to the group conferences. And just making sure that you have given them a voice, that you've listened, that you know what they want, what they need, and can move forward. Then it seems as though my teams always get stuck in the take action part of the meeting, never get past discussing pros and cons. What are some strategies to get them going? And it says, here are some suggestions to take action. And I like that first one: create a T-chart, label one side things contributing to the problem, and the other one's possible ways to address each factor, and then do some brainstorming. Ask the question of the group: if a genie landed on your desk and granted you anything to solve this problem, what would you request? In situations where solutions are hard to generate, provide maybe articles and research that would help. Distribute sticky notes to team members and have them write solutions. Draw circles on a chart paper. Tried it and didn't work. Tried it, it might work. Would like to try, but don't have the resources. Don't think this will work, not sure. And I like that one. And you can definitely make your circles be whatever they want. But what you're doing is giving teachers the opportunity to say what they think up front, and to own that thinking. So that's a really good strategy. And finally, the last one: what are some strategies for leading study groups? And it lists some different kinds of strategies you could use with kids, but you could also use with adults. Saving the last word for me, writing reflections, Venn diagram, getting subs and letting them participate in study groups. So what they're saying is that you need to be high functioning, that you know how to get adults engaged, you know how to get them involved, you know how to honor the voices, you know how to honor the experiences that some people have had, yet not get bogged down. You know how to embrace some of the ideas your new people have, and yet not let it be like they're the answer to everything. And I think it can be a really tough balancing act. I think it's really important that you keep your personal connections with people to a minimum. And I've been in sessions where people felt like, well, these two people over here, they know that person, and so, why are the rest of us here? And so just how you come across with the team. I think being very sincere, showing that you're committed to helping the group, but also maybe my last really key point is helping them believe they have the capacity to do the work. If they always look to you and think they need you to solve their problems, to give them the ideas, to make their work progress, they're never going to do it on their own. And so that's really key in getting them to know and believe that they can do it also. Okay, so this was the third time I did this. I hope it was good. Sorry I stumbled there early on, but this is on coaching with teams.